Well, hello there, and welcome to a video on Covert Operations and the Proficiency Class mods. I've just finished a campaign running these two mods, as well as a number of others, but these are the two spotlight mods, I suppose you could say, the biggest influences of my campaign. And it was a really good playthrough, and I'm just here to basically break some of those aspects of those mods down and talk about what I liked about them and what I didn't. So let's begin with, I guess, Covert Operations. Let's start with the actual campaign length, I guess, and when I did my research on the actual mod, people are saying maybe add about 10 missions or so. So normally a standard run for me is about 64 missions. I always seem to end up with 64 missions on a vanilla playthrough run. I went over into the 90s, early 90s was what I went to, and I think I have some idea as to why. I don't see how you can... I mean, I could definitely have brought it down to maybe the low 80s. I could have taken 10 missions off of that, but I just really wanted to accumulate everything, essentially. But yeah, there's a few aspects as to why I think my campaign went on for that long, and I will cover that in a moment. The other aspect of the playthrough, or the Covert Ops mod that is particularly important, is the infiltration mechanic. That is... I think that's been implemented really well. So if you're somehow not familiar with Lawn War, but are familiar with Covert Operations, it essentially implements the infiltration mechanic. So rather than just running a mission straight away, you send a team out to infiltrate the mission, and then you can run it once they have fully infiltrated it. I think this has been really well done in this mod. You get bonuses for over-infiltrating, and you also have to pay intel to get your team out of there if you don't want to do the mission anymore. So you have to part with that squad and their equipment, because you are buying equipment separately, just like in Lawn War. And I think it's been implemented really well. The bonuses maybe could be a bit more varied. I did find myself getting the same things every time. I'm sure that's intentional. And don't get me wrong, I want the well-rehearsed sit rep every time. That extra turn on at least 2 missions that I can forget, I think 3, that I'd have failed those missions if I didn't have the well-rehearsed sit rep. So they are really, really good. And you can, obviously the smaller squad you send out, the quicker you can infiltrate, but you do get upgrades in the GTS here, for instance, which does allow you to, purchase infiltration size. And in fact, while we're here, there's another really good aspect of that I've completely forgotten about Covert Operations, is the fact that you can train soldiers above squaddy. So that's really useful, just because especially once you get a bit later on in the game, you maybe want to fill out the roster just a little bit, or maybe you're in the mid-game, you can at least come in with a corporal, they've got maybe like 1 extra ability, but it's something. Maybe they have a tiny bit extra aim, a little bit of extra health, just something to make them a little bit more useful. So that's a really nice touch to the game, to the Covert Ops mod. Also, as you can see up here, we've got crew numbers, which is upgraded through the living quarters here. I like this. It was very cost intensive. I kind of found myself... I wish I didn't go for crew size 2 when I did, because it was very pricey. 25 Valyrium crystals, that really came back to bite me. Really, I should have gone for the workshop earlier, but again, there's another problem with this, with buildings. In fact, let's just talk about my biggest problem with this mod, and that is the build times. Not the costs, the build times. And that includes the clearing times, so it takes a lot longer to clear all the rooms than it does in vanilla. I think it does. It's been so long since I've done a vanilla run, but I'm pretty sure it takes so much longer. I can't remember the exact times, but look, yes, I've got the defense matrix now, but if I had finished this playthrough way before April, I could have finished this maybe a month or so ago. I would have not had this built. I only just had the shadow chamber and all this other stuff here, and it just took way too long. So I think you've really got to use the skirmisher HQ. Is probably a little tip, I would say, is really utilize that skirmisher HQ when you're not healing or scanning other POIs. In fact, maybe give POIs a back seat unless you're doing something else, because it really makes a difference. At least I think it does anyway. So you obviously need to go quite heavy on engineers and scientists. I think I went a bit light. I mean, really, you want to hit double figures. I'd say aim for double figures in both. I think that's what I would do next time, is go for 10 of both. Probably grab a few early scientists, then quickly switch to engineers if I could. You must just grab whatever you can. Don't be picky. But it might be worth spending intel on that anyway. Wow, 0 intel. Cool. Never seen that. What else is different of Covert Operations? The ambush mechanic. I think it's better. Now, I remember seeing in a Darava video when he first did a Covert Infiltration, playthrough. I watched his video at the end. I watched videos here and there of that playthrough and was quite intrigued by it. And he said he didn't like the ambush mechanic now. I kind of do, although I agree with him on the fact that it would be nice if there were percentages, as opposed to, I think it's trivial, minor risk, moderate risk, and then whatever high risk is. So high, what are the percentages of these? Is trivial 10% and under? Is low risk 11 to 25? Is moderate somewhere in the middle? Like, what are these percentages? What do these words mean? So that would be a nice thing to implement. Is the percentages? It's XCOM. Don't shy away from percentages, okay? That would be my advice to modders, I suppose. Is we live and die by these numbers, don't we? By percentages. So, yeah, that's the only thing I think I have to say that I don't like about the ambushes. I actually like the ambush missions, and I think he said he didn't. I actually quite do. I think they're much better than the base game ones. I find the base game ones just a bit of a chore. Like, you have that group that come at the beginning, then you've got to deal with Lost, and then which is fine. It would be fine if that was, if it mixed and matched, actually. I didn't deal with any Lost. Apparently you can get them. I think I had one of my viewers say that they did get them on ambushes. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Cinepus, but I'm sure you said on an ambush you can get Lost appear on them. And I don't think I did, if memory serves me right. But I prefer that, and also, early game, ambushes are a breeze, but late game, they get a lot more difficult. At least I found that. They've got... Yeah, I mean, I was dealing with double Andromedans towards the end, so that was quite nasty. And when you're only using 2 people, like, I dealt with the first Andromedan okay, I was equipped for that, but at that point I'd used all of my disposables, so then what? It was pretty troublesome. So I actually quite liked ambushes because I had to really prepare for them. Properly prepare. So I thought that was quite good. Okay, so that's all I've got to say on the Covert Infiltration mod for now. If I've missed anything, I'll edit it in later. Let's talk a little bit about the Proficiency Class mod pack, which, by the way, worked really well in hand with this playthrough. At least I thought it did. So let's take a look, not at my soldiers, let's take a look at the actual, let's go through each soldier class there is available. So let's begin with the sappers. So, our sappers here, let's get rid of these 2 over here. I would have finished with 6, but for some reason Advent really had it out for my sappers this playthrough. They are pretty much as expected. They are your grenadiers. They, rather than carrying a gunner, compared to the vanilla game, let's say, I'm going to go with the vanilla comparison. Rather than having the big old cannon, you can give them either a shotgun or an assault rifle, or an SMG if you're running that mod, but it's not quite been synced in, to be honest, with the game. It's really only good at the start of the game, if you do use it, by the way, because it doesn't cost anything, ballistic SMGs. Anyway, onto the sapper, right. In terms of the actual builds, let's go with this person here, Ollie. So you've got your boom builds, airburst grenades, demolition, which is particularly useful on long missions, as you probably know. And yeah, it's just all focused on explosives. Then you've kind of got, I mean, some abilities here feel a bit like Y, like return fire, which, to be fair, given this playthrough, maybe I should have given them return fire. You've got your usual abilities. I like Shredder at the end, that's really cool. But then you've also got the option to go down a suppression route. So this perhaps feels a little bit, I don't know, I say suppression route, that's kind of the only suppression ability. Support route, I suppose it's mixed in, isn't it? It's the support route. The guardsman. So, yeah, generally speaking, I went the same build every time. I mean, maybe I picked up Entrenched with someone. I like Skirmisher just because I love mobility. Straight up, I think +4 mobility is worth a promotion itself. Imagine if you could do that every single time. Imagine the mobility on any soldier, that you could flank anyone with that. I mean, they couldn't do anything else, so it's not really a good idea, but I just love mobility, but that's because I've played Long War, and you live and die by your soldiers' mobility sometimes. Yeah. Generally speaking, they're pretty standard. They're fine. there isn't really much more to say than that other than they make things go boom. And you can give them little different roles. I guess if you've got somebody with a lot of soldier AP, you maybe want to, you know, pick up a few ones down here. Perhaps you make somebody more of a support grenadier, give them a flashbang. And also go concussive grenades. I did that with one of my grenadiers, but one of my sappers, but they didn't survive the playthrough, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's perhaps the only alternative route. I wouldn't really go down a suppression route. Like, I don't see why you would do that. Maybe if you're going down like a lawn war strategy, but then it just doesn't. I don't know if that necessarily works in this, given the fact that you can destroy cover. Now, if you're playing with lawn war cover rules, I played with lawn war defense rules, so low cover and high cover count for more, basically. But you can still blow cover up easily, so you might as well just blow up the cover, right? That's what I would advise you do. Yeah, this promotion here I found a bit difficult because it requires you to go with something that isn't a plasma grenade. And what are you going to go with? Probably an acid grenade to cause more damage or more shredding. I don't know if it does more shredding. Okay, interesting. Didn't actually know that before. Shows you how much attention I pay. But yeah, you don't really use gas grenades, do you? You may be using incendiaries, as they can be very good, and this is quite good. Cause organic targets to scatter and panic. I wish I maybe went with this for someone. That could have been really good. So you've got maybe two options there. I think you've got two options most promotion. Salvo is obviously really good, as is airburst. You're always going to go demolition. You're always going to go... I know you're not going to go blast padding. I think more people are probably going to go skirmisher, or you can kind of go anything here. And I definitely did take all three of these abilities with different people, so there you go. So there you go, there's your sapper class. It's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. It's, yeah, exactly what you would expect. Moving on to the assault class. Well. These are obviously similar to your rangers. They have got a sword, and they have got a shotgun, usually. That you can give them... You're not an assault. Can you give them a... Yeah, you can give them a bullpup. So that is the skirmisher weapon. If you want to go down a slightly different approach. I don't think that gives you any more mobility though, so might as well go with the shotgun, right? Just gives you better range, I suppose. And yeah, that's it really. These are pretty cool, actually. Of course, everyone loves assaults. They shoot things in the face. These are the most similar to vanilla XCOM, I would argue. I mean, it's mostly sword-orientated stuff. What is interesting is the close-quarter dominance. Staff, where is it? There it is. Close-quarter, I never knew what that B means. Close-quarter biatch. Yeah, so with every promotion, or every couple of promotions, you get an improvement to your defense, critical hit defense, and critical hit chance against enemies within close radius, essentially. So it starts at 5% and it goes up, I think, with each tile you get closer. Something to that extent. Something to that extent is the way I've interpreted. Sorry, this is not a what is Covert Infiltration. This is just a review of my experience playing it, by the way. Just want to reiterate that. But yeah, as you get further and further up, your crit hit chances get insane. I mean, everybody who is high ups, people like this soldier here, Sammy, Trojan should be somewhere. He was getting over 100% crits every shot. So was Andrea, but she's probably still found a made to miss it. But still, yeah, we went down every kind of option here. I even went prep for entry, but never used it. So this soldier here had prep for entry. Would not recommend that ability. Nah, you're just never going to give them grenades. Really, like, it's just so rare because you're going to give them Talon rounds, and ideally you're either going to give them war armor so they can maybe launch a rocket or something, or an exosuit, or you're going to give them like a mimic beacon. Maybe you'll do that. I mean, I quite like to do that with my assaults personally, because if they can't shoot anything close and it's all kind of gone a bit awry and a bit crazy, you can crowd control with them, which, you know, people that just usually shoot people in the face, getting the crowd control function out of them seems better. So yeah, I found there was at least like two routes I could go down here. Go down all the swords. Combatives is awesome as well. Untouchables, you always take untouchable. Just so you know, you never don't take untouchable. Clearly. Concussive grenades, you could give them flashbangs if you want to go down that support route. So maybe you do go prep for entry and then you go kind of it gives them a crowd control element. I never did that. Never really felt like it was necessary for myself. I might try that next time. Actually, I'm not using this mod next time, the Proficiency Class mod, but I would. This is a perfect mod with Covert Infiltration, I do think. Anyway, Roving Warrior is pretty cool. Standard shots no longer end your turn when Runner Gun is activated. This was particularly overpowered, I found, because I would take the shot, I'd always get the kill because I'd put my soldier in a position that they would get the kill and that was it. But they were always able to like take another shot afterwards. It's amazing. I think they could even move and shoot sometimes. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, Roving Warrior is awesome. But then so is Relentless. But surely Relentless... Okay, so no, I could take another shot with them. That was it. And then Relentless, you get a non-movement action. Maybe someone had both of these then. After killing... So, okay. This is making a bit of sense. I must have had both of someone and... Someone would get a kill and they could have just kept going, essentially. Down here, you've got like Deep Reserves, which is pretty good. Gain +2 mobility when Run and Gun is activated. And Run and Gun is reduced by 1. That can be really fun. You know, you get some sort of big turns where you can just charge in, cause chaos. That works really well. Zone of Control. And I like this actually, all enemies within the close quarter blah 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 radius suffer penalties to aim and mobility. That is quite, you know, there's a way of crowd controlling with putting minimal effort in actually. So yeah, I like the assault classes. I don't think I did them justice this playthrough. I don't think I gave them enough thought, I must say. Who was my assault of the playthrough? It was definitely you, Mr. Trojan. How did we go with you? We went... I love lightning reflexes, by the way, but my god, I did take combatives with someone, and I did not regret it at all. But lightning reflexes is one of the best abilities in the game. Gets rid of that first Overwatch. Fantastic, really is. So yeah, I liked assaults. You know, they're what you expect. They're similar to rangers, but they're not overpowered like they are in the base game. The idea of proficiency classes is to make the early game a little bit easier, but make the late game a little bit harder, so you don't have stuff like Blade Storm, you know, that's ridiculously overpowered, things like that. And I think this balances it quite well, I gotta say. So yeah, good job of the assault class. And now on to the fabled Marine class. I did have a 5th one, but she died late game. And yeah, this class, I can't believe how few of these I had. Really, I thought I had more of them. The other one I had was, I think, a major as well, or maybe at least a captain. This class is vital, actually, so surprised, like I say, surprising to have more. This is a real, like, shooty class. Can't really make a comparison to vanilla classes, other than maybe the... somewhere between the gunner and the specialist, I guess. Is that right? Yeah, they kind of have the... So this is where you get your Overwatch builds. Yeah, this is where you get your Overwatch builds. Some of them anyway. You also have... Yeah, so you've got an Overwatch build. You've got a suppression build. I'm sure there's one down somewhere. Yeah, suppression ability to disorient targets. You've got various suppression abilities randomly somewhere. I don't know where they are. Maybe I'm making that up. I think I am making that up. Yeah, that's... Yeah, suppression abilities now have a 33% chance to graze. So that's machine gunner, that's it. These are suppression abilities. Pin them down's just like... These two should be the other way around, surely. I'd have thought. Yeah, and then you have your shooty class, which is, I would say, stuff like flush them out, while you're just looking to hit, do damage. Splinter armor's great, emplaced. So if you're standing, you're generally going to be just standing and shooting with these guys, because you want these guys to have really good aim. You want scopes on their weapons, unless you go down the Overwatch route. Then you give them repeaters, which is a lot of fun, I can tell you that for sure, with this guy in particular. Holy crap, if I can remember, I will splice in some shots of him just overwatching a sector pod, and it dying upon activation. Amazing. Light 'em up is a must-have ability. Simply must have that. You're never going to take No Man's Land. Take reaction shots at unsuppressed targets moving into or through your zone suppression area, turning it into kill zone. So it's basically, yeah, a kill zone. Yeah, it just... So it's just call it kill zone, I guess. Rather than No Man's Land. But, no, we're not initially suppressed. Yeah, I'm not going to read through that now. But yeah, light them up, baby. That's the way to go. 2 shots in 1 turn. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Weapons hot. This one was a lot of fun. Okay, so on target, it's really good. Enemies are less likely to dodge. So if you're the sort of person who has bad luck with dodges, I do, we all do, then this will negate that essentially. So you know those pesky Vipers or Codexes or Stun Lancers, that can negate that. It can basically mean, okay, I'm guaranteed to hit this shot if I hit the shot, if that makes sense, as opposed to dodge it. Also, if you do miss a shot, you might get a graze instead, so you'll never really know if you did or didn't, I guess. Just graze it naturally or not, but still, it can negate that. However, weapons hot combined with Sentinel, I think there was one turn where either you or one of my field medics, no, it must have been you, because only you would have weapons hot. You took like 4 shots or something in the enemy's turn. It was just ridiculous. I highly recommend this one. Gain a chance to take a reaction shot at newly activated enemies. 25% chance of assault rifles. So, as you see here, you can give these classes cannons. And this is where you're going to be doing a lot of your shredding. You're going to go splinter armor, for instance. So you're going to have cannons and you're going to have people that are just here for shootiness. So I think if I was to do this again, I would go, with more heavy weapons. These guys were kitted out to be, beam cannon experts, essentially. You only brought out a weapon like that one time because it was the best weapon we had. I think we just upgraded. So yeah, you took out like a mag cannon, I think it was. Anyway, 8 late game abilities. You took aggression, so you got more crit chance. The reason we got more crit chance because you had Sentinel, I guess. Probably should have picked up Bring 'em On. And I forgot to use my AP, by the way. Yeah, I'm that guy. Attack sense can be good if you're just a bit defensive. Makes sense, especially if you're going down the Overwatch route. Having a bit of extra defense can be nice because it can save you. If you can dodge that shot, then you don't lose your Overwatch potentially. Yeah, really nice class. I love the Marine class. I wish I had more of them. That was one of my biggest regrets actually, was not having more Marines and having 2 Templars at the end of the game, which was utterly just a waste. Anyway, more on that in a bit. So yeah, I like the Marine class. You've got your suppression build. I wouldn't necessarily use it myself, but you've got your Overwatch build and you've got your shooty build. That's just what they're here to do. They're here to shoot people in the face, from halfway across the map. Not all the way across the map, because that's the job of the marksman. Here they are. You're not a marksman, nor are you. We would have our number 1 sharpshooter here, but he's tired, I think, so he's not allowed in the lineup. Alright, well, this class is interesting. They've essentially split the scouty aspect of the ranger from vanilla XCOM and combined it with the sharpshooter. Or the sniper. What is it called in the base game? It's sharpshooter, I think. Yeah, which is interesting, actually. And in order to make that work, to make that flow, you can either take a sniper rifle or you can take the Shadow Lance, or whatever it's called. Not the Shadow Lance, the Reaper's weapon. What's the standard one called? Oh, don't need to go that far down. Marks the Vector Rifle, that's it. Yeah, the Vector Rifle. So that's kind of interesting. Let's have a quick look at the abilities. So it's pretty clear what you can do here. Oh look, there's even a third one. They've even added the holo targeting feature that Lone War brought in, I believe. So 3 very clear directions you can go down. You've either got pure snipes, which lead the target's interest. I didn't use this much, but I always knew it was there, and when I used it, it generally didn't go well because I was just unlucky. The numbers just didn't roll in my favor. But when it did, it was good. I think it's a really good ability actually. I just didn't utilize it. Only takes 1 action, but must be braced and cannot critically hit. So it's just there to guarantee that hit, essentially. Yeah, let's just talk about... I'll just talk about the builds in general. Snipers are snipers. You know what they do. Yeah. Yeah, pretty good. Spotters. Now, these are really good if you're looking for a scout. Let's say you've got a mission and maybe you don't want to take a Reaper in. Then you probably want to take in either a scout or a spotter. Spotters are particularly good if you're running with Marines, because you can then... Let's say Marines are taking 2 shots. You can holo-target them, the enemies, and they can take 2 shots on these enemies with bonuses to critical hit chances in some cases. So that's kind of amazing, actually, if you think about it. I didn't realize this. Quick hands. I don't think I gave anyone this. Automatically brace at the end of your turn if you only took movement actions. Oh, no. Sniper rifles can now fire a standard snapshot with only 1 action remaining. That's pretty huge, actually. That's pretty good. But snapshots do not gain any bonuses from precision targeting. So you've got a lot of flex. You've got some flexibility to sort of mix and match it, and I think I did, actually. Even just the +1 damage to weapons and stuff can be really good. And then the scout here, obviously blindside. This is all this does is just lower, it does lower damage. But let's say you're not going to kill a fairly big enemy like I don't know, a berserker, Andromedan, though they just launch acid bombs anyway because they don't care. But you just needed to hit it, and well, it doesn't give you an increased chance to hit. That's my only complaint. Is there's a ability in Lomor that is similar to this, but you don't get that bonus to hit, unlike in Lomor, I think. Oh no, I'm thinking Walk Fire. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, you disorient it, so that's something. One ability that is particularly good is Ghost. I found this quite interesting. Yeah, gain +2 mobility. So that's massive. I mean, gain +2 ability. Just, it's so hard to take anything else, but, death from above, this essentially is. Lieutenant is massive for the for this class, really. It's pretty huge for the marksman, so yeah. But Ghost, you go back into concealment if you leave no enemies active after you kill a target. That's quite interesting. So you kind of try and play it so that you give them the last kill in the similar way that you would do a Reaper, where you let them finish an enemy off. Go back into concealment. That can work really well. So these guys can act like a sort of Reaper light in a way. Maybe you combine it with efficient targeting. I mean, I think there's a reason Popov here worked really well, actually. Yeah, we just took those abilities that made him a sort of, a replacement Reaper. And his missions generally went quite well, I think, if memory serves me right. We just never got many promotions because he never got many kills, I guess. How many kills did you get? Yeah, you see, look, he didn't even get a 2-to-1 ratio. So that's kind of the problem. But that's just a problem with the experience system, isn't it? So anyway, marksman class is pretty awesome. You know what you're getting with people that shoot a sniper rifle. I just like the flexibility with the vector rifle here. So gives you some options to play around there. Can go down a holo target route. There's just no pistol route, but to be honest, that just isn't really featured in the Proficiency Class mod, to be honest. They don't... Yeah, it just was never really implemented properly, I don't think. Anyway, let's move on to our next class. So now we have our field medics. These guys were pretty key, and as you can see, we've got 2 colonels here, a major and a captain. Compared to the others, I pretty much always ran a field medic. I always found it was necessary to bring one most of the time. Although if I knew it was a mission that was going to go generally okay, I maybe would get away with not bringing one. I really like this class. Compared to something like Lomor, where it was quite a struggle to make your field medics any good, these guys, they're good. They're real good. Especially these 2 at the end here. Well, no, they were all good. These 3 were fantastic. You 2 in the same way, and you in a different way. So let's talk about that for a moment. I think it's worth touching on the field medics here. So as you can expect, their proficiencies lie in medical treatment. And you can go down that route. So you go combat medic, well, not really combat medic, but I think it's corpsman here. And this is where you have different trauma kits, for instance, here. That's what I'm know. Anti-venom stims. So you can provide a passive heal to poison. So as well as healing from it, a passive one to it. You then get all these other little stimulants as well, like at the end here. The field medic may use medkit charges to apply combat stimulant. So that does use one of your medkit charges, but it increases the effectiveness of an ally. That's kind of nuts. So you can basically turn somebody into like a super soldier. Their combat has boosted by 10% and will gain 25% damage resistance. So, you know, it's an option, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't go for that. I went for burst fire first, by the way. I just took that as a, why not? But yeah, you can focus then on their combat if you want, so +2 mobility, that's huge, +5 aim. And then there's the thing that defines the class. Sentinel. You can go down an Overwatch spec, and if you can combine this with Cool Under Pressure, listen, if you see Cool Under Pressure here, you're automatically making them an Overwatch spec field medic. Simple as that. Like, as long as you see that, you're going to take this. Now, wherever this is, Cool Under Pressure, you're taking Cool Under Pressure and going Sentinel every time. Because, I mean, how effective is that? You've got like an Overwatch specialist. I mean, here we could have gone Covering Fire, potentially. Not to mention you get the +5 aim here. +2 mobility, +5 aim, so they're even more likely to hit. That's really good. I mean, it just is. It's fantastic. Down here, first response, these are for like quick heals, so emergency aid, for instance. If you pop emergency aid, it's free ability. You can then use a med kit that turn, and it won't cost. So let's say you want to run and heal someone, or run and stabilize if you're in a really bad situation, you can do that. The next medkit healing ability. So yeah, I assume stabilization is included in that. Fortunately, I never found out. Yep, it is. Stabilize and revive even. You can revive someone and then go into Overwatch or take a shot. Or, you know, rapid deploy, use a flashbang if you brought a flashbang with you. Do you see where you can go with this? You can go Overwatch spec, or you can go proper support, which you would expect from your field medics. Yeah, really, really nice, actually, really nice. So I like the field medics. I think they do quite good. What other abilities did I not look at? Oh, applied knowledge. Actually, I did look at that. Now, let's say you're like me and you like to play with different stats, so not created equally. That's what I do. So everybody has different attributes here. Over here you can see Rottweiler has 16 mobility, as well as a +3 that I gave her at the end through a superior PCS chip. I decided with her, well, if her mobility's that high, why didn't I make her like a crit specialist, which is what I've done here. So I've gone applied knowledge, gain plus crit chance, plus crit damage on a primary weapon on a target that XCOM has autopsied. I love that. That's a really intriguing ability. So yeah, like, she just runs in. So her combat effectiveness is to just flank enemies. She just goes for the flank, gets the kill, and well, there you go. And even, I think, reposition, once per turn after landing a standard shot on a flanked or exposed target that would end your turn, gain a movement only action, with a mobility penalty. You can see some sort of ways that you line up abilities depending on their stats. So I really like this class. I had a lot of fun with it. And obviously she didn't have any Overwatch abilities. She didn't have Cool Under Pressure, so there was no sense of going down that route. She just had really good mobility, so that was the route I took. Yeah. This worked out quite well for me. Went rapid deployment, went for a sort of flashbang build if I wasn't sure what to do. But yeah, we could just run out in the open, shoot somebody, and then get back into cover. And that was really useful, especially with mobility like that. So, particularly clutch. Then the rest of the time, if I needed to heal someone, I would just go and heal someone instead. In between turns or something like that. So, yeah. And obviously, with the high mobility, I went with combat conditioning. So she naturally had very high mobility. Therefore, I gave her combat conditioning, then went down this route. To be honest, Sentinel should be like up here or something, I think. Yeah, it's a little bit all over the place, the trees, I think. There's just so many ways you can put them together. But yeah, I quite like that. Also, the secondary weapon they have, I forgot to mention, is the Arc Pulsar, so that's really good for stuns. I did find this class was very much necessary on ambushes, so I would recommend take a field medic with an Overwatch specialist on an ambush. But those stuns can be particularly useful just to sort of take something out for a turn, do a little bit of damage with the other person, both of you finish it off the following turn sort of thing, on bigger enemies on those ambushes, late game ambushes. Particularly useful. So yeah, that was good. There you go, that's the field medics. I like that class a lot. And now we move on to our final class. And our last class is the tech specialist. These 4 here, pretty standard. I think this is the class that I was least impressed with, other than going down Super Hacker here, Super Hacker Hannah Carlson. I wouldn't know how else you do it. I mean, there is... Actually, that's not true. You've got Technician here, which this is designed to go and essentially, well, at some points here, assist your sparks. So that was something I wanted to do with her, but I never really got into using sparks because it took so long on Covert Infiltration to build the workshop. And then I end up using my resources on other stuff anyway, so you kind of see the problem there. Maybe if you're not running Covert Infiltration, you might want to go down the spark unit a little bit sooner, and maybe this middle tree looks a little bit more intriguing, actually. So the whole thing with this class is the ABC protocols. That's your combat protocol. You've then got like a disorient protocol and an aid protocol. The disorient one's like a little flashbang that has like a 2-3 tile radius. Very small radius, but just disorients an enemy. I really like that ability. I think out of the starting gate, this class is the strongest. They're the most useful on those early game missions because they can do so much. Especially if you're buddied up with someone, you know, they can control the scene themselves, essentially. Really useful. But yeah, later on I found them less and less useful until I got Marauder, which is basically shoot twice. That's it. I mean, that's a good ability, right? Who's saying that's not a good ability? Not me. Oh no, oh no. Excuse me, right. I'm talking so much I need to give myself a second to breathe. Okay. So, agent here, you could go down the battle scanner route. They're essentially just meant to be a, you know, you either go down, is this a combat route? I mean, it's a damage route, I suppose. This ability I did not understand. I didn't use it. Activate to trigger an electronic disruption field that grants the tech specialist plus 50 defense until the beginning of the next turn and guarantees any reaction shot will miss. Oh no, this isn't the ability I didn't understand. I don't remember what it was now. Yeah, I just never took this. I don't think I tried enough abilities. I went for EMP Shockwave, which is almost pointless because if you've got EMP Shockwave, you're the tech specialist, so surely, rather than using combat protocol, you're going to be hacking an enemy, right? Like, you've used your turn, unless you're using a bond action. So this reduces enemies hacked by 15, and it can even shut down an enemy, it says, but you kind of have to either combine it with someone who can use teamwork, which she never bonded, was the problem there, so I shouldn't have gone with that, I should have gone with Disruption Field, in this case. Yeah, but yeah, you've got, oh, grant mechanical ally squad sight. So you see, this middle tree, I really wanted to play with this, but because we never, I hardly ever had any, whatever you call them, the big robot dudes. Forgotten the names of them. Yeah, shame really. Extended signal range. Most gremlin protocols and sniper rifles may now be used at squad sight ranges, so these guys can actually equip sniper rifles, hence she's got the Dark Lance there. That's kind of interesting. So you can, again, go for... She sits at the back and you have, or your tech specialist sits at the back and you have an army of mechs that do the work for you. That is a valid strategy. That's something I really wish I could have done, but I just wasn't able to, unfortunately. So if you do get to play it yourself, I would say try and do this if you can. I think it could be quite an interesting build. I see what the technician build is now. I just never utilize this class more than, look, I've got to hack an objective. Can we hack it, please? Thank you. Yeah, endgame abilities, advanced robotics, you gain +1 additional charge. So every time, so you don't have a limit on how many times you can use combat protocol, let's say. You just have a cooldown, and it's like 8 turns, but you can reduce that cooldown, as you can see, and you can give yourself a larger initial charge. I think there's always a 1-turn cooldown anyway, and then you can use it right away again, I think, is what it is. So, yeah, one thing per turn, then the following turn you could use it straight away, I think is what it is. Something like that. But, yeah, this class, I just never utilized it, so that's kind of on me. So, the jury's kind of still out on this class. They're a necessity for some missions, and that's kind of how I treated them. They were just a necessity, but they are still part of it. Anyway, that pretty much concludes proficiency. Oh, no, it doesn't. Hang on. We've got the others, don't we? Yes, that's right. We have... Hang on. We need to throw like a random Templar that I used for one mission in. So we've got Psi Operatives as well. I don't think there was a Psyop class in the Proficiency Pack. This is just standard Psi, and I love my Psi Operatives. They were great. Skirmishers. Fantastic. I love Skirmishers, man. I mean, I don't know what it is. In the base game, vanilla game, I just never liked them. But ever since Lawn War, they were great. And then in this, they're fantastic as well. I mean, they have the ability to shred, for goodness sake. Wait, do they? Or is that just... Oh, that was just an ability you picked up. Ha! Ignore that. But no, you've got your remote start. If you know what this ability is, you love this ability. It's great fun. Untouchable. Fantastic. They have the ability to shoot twice. They're almost certainly going to get a kill. If you can get them untouchable, then they are, well, effectively untouchable, aren't they? Retribution's great. I didn't even take anything here because I went down lightning reflexes, and then I went for the +1 mobility because, like I said at the start of this, I love my mobility, don't I? Rip and Tear. I mean, there's so many abilities here that are really, really cool. You can pierce armor, you can shred armor. It's just fantastic, yeah. I think this class is, yeah, you know what they do. They slice or they shoot, and they can grapple around the place. Really good. As for the Reapers, I loved the way Reapers work in this. I really do. So, what you do is you can go out of concealment, but you can re-enter it at any time, like after a turn where nothing's happened, essentially. They gain whatever their point system is, and they just automatically go back into concealment. So you can just bring them out of concealment and actually use them as a good soldier, like that can contribute to the fight. And not just that, you can still keep them in concealment if you use what is it? Haunt? No, what is it? There's an ability that's really freaking... I used it with everyone. I'm sure there's one where deaths from concealment mean you don't reveal yourself, so... no, I don't remember. Sure it was like Haunt. Maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I really am. Hawkeye was really useful, by the way. So many times it scared the life out of me because I would be like, what? How did I activate these guys? And then I'd realize, oh no, I haven't. She's just spotted them because she's got like, I mean, that's a passive bonus to vision and standard weapon range. That is really good. So that's a good ability right there. Phase, again, the Shadow Step ability, that has its own, and reposition. Like, that's 2 abilities for 1. Or you can hack security towers and start with 2 shadow stacks. That's what they're called, shadow stacks. Each time you reconceal, so that can be good as well. But yeah, all their abilities are fantastic. You can go down like a pistol route, which I almost started doing a few. Somebody had face off, the other one had face off. And yeah, he was fantastic with that ability. That was just great for finishing things off. So that's the only way you really get the pistol ability is through this class. And it works, I guess. It works. So that was nice. That was nice. Yeah, you can go for some sort of high... This was interesting. I never used it, but I thought it was interesting it was here. Gain +1 base damage and +2 armor pierce of your vector rifle in exchange for -2 total rounds in the magazine. So that means you only get 1 shot, unless of course you put a superior or like some sort of expanded mag on there. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess that's how you're going to finish off, what, shield bearers or something? But you're probably going to shred them anyway, so... I don't know. That didn't suit my style, so I never took it. What else? I mean, yeah, you can see here. Deal more damage, more crit. This is to sort of really get those big crit shots, I guess, is the idea here. So if you're doing... I guess if you're combining that high caliber with this, you know, +2 damage... Deal +2 damage and receive critical hit bonus against savage enemies. That's so specific. So bloody specific. I guess that's what you're doing, right? You're killing chrysalids of this person, I suppose, maybe. But yeah, they were really cool. Really liked them. Templars, I don't get Templars. Sorry, I just don't like Templars. This one, okay, I think once they get to Captain, they become a bit more useful because of Blade Storm. But parry, this is my biggest problem, is they need parry. And the thing is, this you need to use energy for. So if you have no energy, I think you even need more than 1. You need like 2 or something. Like, it wouldn't let me use it most turns. 1 energy. Okay, yeah. So, like, you're going in there and you're just standing out in the open then? I mean, they have the reposition ability, I guess, but I found parry just so useful and vital that I just did not like this class, to be honest. Maybe I just wasn't using it properly. Nah, some of the late game abilities look quite cool, actually. Arc Wave, so Sonic Energy, it's similar to like Harbor Wave, I guess, in some ways. This one looks quite cool, Skyfall. So you basically just go anywhere on the map and deal extra damage and you freeze a target. So it's kind of like stasis with damage. Not bad, right? And what was the other ability? Reanimate. Yes, you can now reanimate a humanoid to fight for you as a zombie. That's pretty cool as well. So the late game abilities look quite cool. I just never got there until I picked up 2 random kernels after my Templar died. So, you know, then I got these afterwards. So yeah, no, not for me, Templars, to be honest. Maybe they're only really good late game, I find. You've kind of got to... You've really got to find a way to integrate them. Like, you've got to make an effort more than you do with the other classes, I found anyway. Yeah, so that's kind of it really on Templars. Anyway, I have been talking non-stop for over 45 minutes. I'm exhausted, honestly. The only other thing I did do with this playthrough is I used the Children of the King mod pack as well. I guess the other major mod I used. And I only saw the first... I think there's meant to be 3 encounters. The first one's with 1 Viper. That was fine. That actually made for one of the best missions of the campaign. It was an absolute thriller at the start. And then the next one's meant to be 2 Vipers. I only saw 1 of them. They're like twins, they are. And then I never saw the last one. So, you know, I don't know. So that didn't really work. Maybe it was a conflict thing. Might have been. Probably was with Covert Infiltration, I imagine. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. Alright, well, I am going to leave it there. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope maybe you got something from this about Covert Infiltration or the Proficiency Class voice packs. I'm sure I've forgotten something. There's something else I want to say, but I've been talking so long. I need to go and have a rest. So, thanks for watching, and see ya.